got home, Sean James, Les Loyal, Dante Mr. Waffle, how are we?
Oh, we're sitting here with some weak soy iced lattes. We're talking hoops. Couldn't be any better, shit. Couldn't be any better.
So Namcore, just how it was envisioned. Yeah, first time you and I doing a pod in video.
Yeah.
Welcome.
God, I look great.
Yeah. I don't. Michael always says don't look at the camera, but you're allowed and cheeky.
Well,
If you make a zinger, you can have a peek.
like an office style look to the camera.
Yeah.
Well, I don't make any zingers, so I probably won't be. Probably won't be needing to. That'll probably be more your domain. But we're here today to talk over-unders, which means it's low-key very close to the start of the season. Training camp is just around the corner.
There's a box score this morning.
Bloody hell.
Denver, Boston in Abu Dhabi.
Wow.
Yeah.
My God.
Russell Westbrook hit his first shot with the Denver Nuggets and it was a 3. Is that a sign of things to come? No. The zinger, I'll have a look. Yeah, fucking, it's very close, and it means it's also Christmas time for fans of the Deep 2 NBA podcast because we know this is our most listened to episode of the pod. We know the fans love it. We see the numbers. We see you talking to us, and I feel like the industry has been craving a gambling focus, taking away the gambling side of a podcast.
Yeah.
I think we just delivered that.
Important to note the taking away the gambling side of the equation.
Yeah.
But bloody hell did we deliver? This is the 5th time we're doing this, pre-season ritual.
Yeah.
And yeah, it really is. It's like the first day of spring in the basketball calendar. You kind of come outside and you're like, over-unders. Wow. It's here. We survived the long nuclear winter. And now we're here and the buds are growing on the trees. The grass is a little bit greener. Russell Westbrook's hitting the 3 in Saudi Arabia. Abu Dhabi. So, at the top, we're going to talk a little bit about the Deep 2 before we jump into this. You know us. You love us. You're seeing us on the camera. I'm looking at you. Get on YouTube, subscribe. Jump on Twitter, Instagram. We're kind of everywhere. We're on LinkedIn as well. If that's your cuppa. But obviously, like we're a grassroots organization, and we feed off of the support that our listeners give us. So if you're able to make sure that you're following us on all platforms and engage with our content if you love it, engage with our content if you don't love it, but in a polite and respectful way.
Yeah, definitely. Follow us on everything. Doing video right now, also doing little video clips as much as we can. I think we've got maybe like 6 videos up now, and they're good to make. They're easy to make, so they're going up. And yeah, if you like this podcast, like this is a very great introduction to the NBA season. So if you like this podcast, send it to a friend. Heck, share it to a story. I don't want to ever put my footprint on someone's fingertips on someone's story. But if you like it that much, let people know, let people hear it. I guess that's it. Should we go into the pod?
Yeah, let's chop it up.
Yeah, this is, as you said, the 5th time we've been doing this. I think the grand total across all over-unders is Dante at, I'm going acoustic.
I believe I'm 62 and you're 63.
No, you're 63, I'm 62.
Yeah.
And then the head-to-head record is Dante 2, myself 1, and we're tied 1. This is very close. I actually can't believe how close it is. If we started this 5 years ago, I said, I wonder how tight it's going to be. This is tighter than we could imagine.
Yeah. But I guess it's just kind of like a validation of the thought process behind you and I starting a basketball podcast together in April 2019.
Previously only for the Patreon listeners. So over-unders, super tight. If you've seen one of these before, you know what we're doing, but if you haven't, we have gone to the Vegas Insider. We go to a different American sports book every year just to pick whichever one's honestly at the top of the Google list. So this year we went to Vegas Insider. This was on the 1st of October, and we grabbed their projections for what the win total is going to be for every single NBA team. We've planked them in. We're going to run through some of the major acquisitions, major losses, and just notes, and we can just sort of spitball from there and then say whether we're going over that number or under that number. So I think that's everything, isn't it?
That's everything. There are a few in here that are like just perfectly set. You're looking at it and you're like, oh, that's how many wins I think this team's gonna have.
Can you push? Can you push them? Would you say we're legally allowed to push?
Well, this is a long running debate and irritation of mine. I know, spoiler alert for the listeners. I know that you've gone the double number push in here. You can push by picking a number. Split it.
All right. Okay.
But it's a half total, like a half 50.5 is given, so you can't take 51 and 52.
I'll push it. I'll push a number.
Yeah,
I'll push a number.
Well, we'll see about that.
Cool. All right, let's start with the Dallas Mavericks. Their number is set at 50.5. Last year they won 50 games, lost 32. They added Klay Thompson, Najee Marshall, Quentin Grimes, and Spencer Dinwiddie, and they major losses are Josh Green, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Derrick Jones, also Jr. This is going to be a full season of having Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington on the roster, and Derek Lively will not be a rookie anymore. Dante, where are you going with this one?
I'm going over, but this was the first one that really made me think because, as I just mentioned, it's one of a few that I think are really well set. Obviously, it's bang in line with last season's win totals, and you will say, yeah, they were so much better in the second half of last season. They were like one of the best teams in the league in the second half of last season. And the playoffs, you may remember, they went to the NBA Finals where they lost to the Boston Celtics in a very respectable showing. It was definitely no Sydney Swans, Brisbane Lions 2024 AFL Grand Final.
Congratulations, by the way. First time we've recorded since.
Thanks, yeah. It's because special, like I said, spring,
The mist is in the air.
Queensland teams are lifting the cup, just how it's supposed to be. Based on the track record for the second half of last season in the playoffs, this is like a 57, 58 win team. But I just have my doubts that they actually improved with their off-season acquisitions. I think they've actually just treaded water with their off-season acquisitions, and another season of me needing to buy into Kyrie being like on the court and healthy and sane. There are things here that might not stack up. That all being said, I'm going over, and I think this is going to be a team that's pushing for a top 4 seed in the West, which means you're going to be looking at 50 plus.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, but I'm a little bit more confident. While you might be thinking maybe the 52 range, I think this might be like a 57 win team.
You think it's 57?
Because honestly, I believe in that second half push. Like, what's not to believe? And their centers only got better. Daniel Gafford's like 27 years old. I think Derrick Jones Jr. is a big loss, but Najee Marshall's quite a wash swap.
He's not that big of a loss. It's Derrick Jones Jr.
Yeah, but he was their best player.
I agree that Najee Marshall is it's a wash.
Yeah.
But
I'll meet you at the same place, but we're getting there in different ways.
Yeah.
Klay Thompson, sneaky bad at basketball, but is he better than Tim Hardaway Jr.?
Jury's out.
Yeah, honestly, but I can see a world in which he is better.
Yeah,
which is
he's definitely way worse at dribbling.
And
anything offensively other than shooting. And he definitely comes with more baggage.
And he's got a
potential role as well. Tim Hardaway Jr., you can say, hey, X starter is out. You're going to be starting for the next 5 games. And then after that, you're going to be the 10th man. And Tim Hardaway Jr. was like, cool, I'm just going to do my thing.
Yeah.
Clay, Jason Kidd might say, you're going to be coming off the bench and Clay's going to go like this to him.
So we've both gone over. I'm a little bit more confident than you. Cool. Sick. I think that's a nice, easy start. So one thing that I've added to the bottom of every single team is a little question that says, who is the longest tenured player on the roster? Because I love these questions, right? And it's good to ask at the end of every offseason. So I've got a list of every longest tenured player that Dante doesn't have access to. And at the end of every single over-under, I will ask Dante, who is the longest tenured player on this team, being the Dallas Mavericks?
Luka.
There. This guy was added to the team a year before Luka. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Gonna have to pass.
It is Maxi Kleber.
Fucking hell, fair play.
Yeah.
Fair play.
It was Dwight Powell, but he currently doesn't have an NBA contract.
Yeah, it's been tough for Dwight Powell since 3 years ago.
Remember when he hit his head?
Yeah.
I think about that way too often.
Yeah.
All right, the Denver Nuggets, their number is set at 52.5. Last year, they won 57 games. They added Russell Westbrook, Dario Saric. They drafted Daron Holmes the second. He was drafted 22nd. That's actually quite cool. But he is out for the year after injuring himself in Summer League. They lost Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Reggie Jackson. Jamal Murray was injured during the Olympics. That's what everyone keeps saying after the Olympics have happened. Yet he still played quite poorly. He then signed a max contract. Christian Brown is the assumed/definite starter, taking over from Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. And we have another year of development for, I've written Julius Strawther, is it Julius? And Peyton Watson.
It's Julian.
But it's also another year of development for Hunter Tyson, if you will.
Far out.
So they won.
Every year the Hunters are getting more Tyson.
So they're 157 and set at 52. I'm going over. I think this is, even though it's a definite worse team, I think this is still an over.
I'm going over as well. The Nuggets are the new Bucks in terms of just being deserving of that institutional trust, that as long as the key pieces are in place, which the four best players on this team are still all there. As long as that's the case, like, they deserve your trust to always go over. And like, you know, will they be high 50s? Maybe not. It's definitely a downgrade for them, like you mentioned, in terms of talent. But like, you know, 52, piece of piss. It's Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, literally. He's just a machine. And there has been some murmurs where it's like Michael, and the front office aren't seeing eye to eye. I think if anything's going to come from that, it's going to be a year from now when they like lose in the second round.
Winning solves everything.
Winning solves everything, but also just like these things take time as well.
Yeah.
Russell Westbrook, I think, will be a sneaky good regular season fit. I don't think he's going to turn into a 3-point shooter, as Bleacher Report's morning notifications might suggest. But I think he's just going to be a serviceable backup point guard who he's going to have that nice like, outlet, Gary Harris style.
He'll be a backup point guard,
He'll be a backup point guard.
Serviceable, I don't know.
Dario Saric might be the best backup center they've had in years.
Yeah.
Is more speaking to their previous backup centers.
DeAndre Jordan catching strays.
And Zeke Naji.
I'm fully out on Saric.
And DeMarcus Cousins. You're fully out on Saric.
Yeah.
He was good last year for the Warriors.
Yeah.
But shouldn't have played.
Just don't ask him to jump.
Yeah,
it's actually absurd.
He's literally
he fully would have the lowest vertical leap in the whole NBA right now. I would put money on it.
It sucks that he was the reason you lost the 2021 NBA Finals, because he tore his ACL, and that ACL has honestly taken a lot from him. Who is the longest tenured player on this Denver Nuggets roster?
Nikola Jokic.
Correct. Next team, the Golden State Warriors. Their number is set at 43.5. Last season, they won 46 games. That famously more than 43. They added D'Anthony Melton, some might say is the best acquisition of the offseason. They added Carl Anderson, Buddy Hield, and Lindy Waters the third.
Who's saying that?
I said that. Yeah. Come on, you were there. We were sitting in these seats.
Yeah.
They lost Child Porn 3, Christopher Paul, Lester Quinones, Klay Thompson, and Dario Saric. There's a lot up in the air with this Warriors roster. Anthony Slater of The Athletic reported that there are multiple starting lineups open. You have to assume it's the four not named Steph Curry. That's the Klay Thompson fingers. The past two I've written in digital ink what the number is. I'm not sure if I'm going over. I think I will lean over because like the Houston Rockets won 41 games last year. Like if they're the picture of a 500 team, right? I think the Golden State Warriors are better than that. But we can't withstand any injuries unless like to our major guys, like if like Kuminga or Steph go down, or even Draymond, like I don't know who's defending for us if Draymond goes down. I think all of a sudden we're in the dangers of our number starting with a 3. But I'm going to pick the over anyway. What are you doing, Dante?
I'm going over as well because I don't think there's a raw talent upgrade on this roster.
What about at the 2 guard?
Melton obviously is a good pickup. Kyle Anderson, you know, like I'm I'm a believer in Kyle Anderson in this kind of system. Like I think he's kind of the sort of cerebral player that really thrive in the read and react offense. And I'm in on Buddy Hield as the low value
Clay.
Like I probably would rather have Hield than Clay anyway. The guy's going to shoot it. And he gets the respect that a lethal shooter gets, even though don't look at his actual 3-point percentage from the last couple of seasons, because it starts with a lower number than what you would expect.
But the FGA is
But the FGA is always there. The FGA is always there.
Yep.
And you got to love him for it. You're right in saying that this team, like, can't really withstand an injury to any of the kind of major players, the big three, if you will, Kuminga, Curry, and Green. But injuries are such a difficult thing to factor into to this calculation. Like, less difficult if there's someone who has an injury history. Like Kawhi Leonard. Do we believe he's going to be there for the full season? Probably not. That's going to factor in. But injuries in the abstract, like if one of our best players were to get injured, will be really bad. I don't know. It's all iffy. I'm going over. I don't think this team will be like. I don't think this team is gonna even sniff 50, but I think this team could be smelling 45. You know,
Steph was low key quite bad after the All-Star break. It was like averaging
finally someone said
just over 20 points a game. Like he was
terrible.
And if I'm gonna say, hey, the second half surge of Dallas is why I'm going over, I have to mention that the second half anti-surge, right? The second half grounding of Steph Curry is definitely like sort of is seeping into this overall.
Yeah, but also like, you know, it's fucking Steph Curry. It's a 30-game stretch at the end of last season. Like it
from the 36-year-old.
Yeah, it means nothing. I think.
Who's the longest tenured player on the roster?
That's a good question. It's Steph Curry.
It's Steph Curry. Yeah, 2 years ahead of Draymond.
Yeah.
The Houston Rockets, their number set at 42.5 last season. They obviously won 41 games. They added Jack McVay. Jury's still out whether he will make the roster, but he has chosen his number. They added Reed Shepherd, who they drafted third. They lost Reggie Bullock and Boban Marjanovic. Active in trade rumors and discussions. They have the ammo to get it done. Obviously, they've been linked, as in when I say they've been linked, they've linked themselves to Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Zion Williamson, Donovan Mitchell,
Mikal
Bridges. I think he's definitely off now, but they were linked there. So this would make them 1.5 games better than they were last year, and I think they might have drafted the Rookie of the Year. We're going to do our was predictions, but there's a lot of good buzz around Reed Shepherd. Before I ask you what your over/under is and what you're doing here, what do you think about Jack McVay picking the number 58?
I think it tells you where things are at with the likelihood that he's going to make the 15-man roster. But did you hear that? Did you see the statement that he put out where he said that he chose 58 because that's what he wants people's eyes to do?
I thought you were going to say, because his tweet was like, 17 was taken. My wife had this great idea. Add up all your numbers. And then no one in NBA history has ever worn the number 58.
Well, good to see that he's publicly given the women behind the beautiful game some of the praise. You know what I mean?
Soccer. I think he can be quite annoying on social media. Have you seen it?
He's a basketball player.
Nah, but he's like very cringe.
Yeah, I haven't seen him. I don't follow any individual player accounts.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I know you do. You have a higher, I think, a cringe tolerance than me, and also you're prepared to seek it out because it is cringe.
So no,
I'm less prepared to do that.
I follow Steph and I like all of his posts.
Yeah.
I follow LeBron. I've got his stories on mute.
Yeah.
I follow Monty Morris. I like all of his posts.
That's so fucking rogue.
And I follow Daniel Gafford because it's funny.
You follow the Phoenix Suns third string ball handler.
Yeah, he used to be the Denver Nuggets second string ball handler.
Yeah.
Yeah. He posted, Monty Morris is so good, man. Big Game K.
And you follow Daniel Gafford because of the why?
Because of DMOG 21. So he Yeah, Big Game Tay just posted like his media day photos in a Suns jersey, and it's just like year 6 lock emoji. It's like, fuck, this is so good. This is such sports player energy. I love it.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to this team. They've got they've got Jack McVay, probably. I'm going with the double number push, but
Classic.
Going back to our previous conversation, hypothetically, if I have to do a single number push, I'm going to push at 43.
You're going to push at 43.
It was a 42 and a half.
Yeah. Yeah, this feels about right. I've actually gone under.
What if they make a trade?
Don't feel good about it at all. I feel terrible about it. But like, this is the first team where I've come into the number crunch. Not every single Western Conference team can win 45 games. It's not possible. New Orleans, Memphis, San Antonio.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? Like Sacramento, like not all of these teams can be in the 43 to 45 range.
Yeah.
And they're in a great position to make a trade. But if you look at this team and you say they're really young with some really like solid veteran players and they won 41 games last year, obviously that macro zoomed out perspective puts them in position for like a leap in year 2 of, you know, the Ime Udoka regime. You kind of zoom in a little bit and it's like, well, Reed Shepherd, yeah, he's getting Rookie of the Year buzz, but that's more of a shit draft. That's a factor of this guy no one knows and no one likes went number 1, and the guy that went number 2 just shot 6% at Summer League despite the fact that he's 7 foot tall.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily like Shepherd looks good for sure, but it's you know, he's by no means going to be a contributor.
Bit of riders.
Jalen Green,
Right place, right time.
it's good. Jalen Green could be shit. It's possible. He's last season, he was both really good and really bad. You know, so then it's like, well, am I on the Jalen Smith train? Not as a
Jabari Smith.
Sorry, Jabari Smith. I've still got Jalen Smith in here and in here. Do you remember when we drafted him 10th overall?
Yeah, crazy. But you did succeed drafting another bad player 10th the year prior, being Cam Thomas. Cam Johnson.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff ups. Yeah, Jabari Smith, like, is he going to be Paul Millsap yet? I don't know.
No, he's not. Is he going to be like a good big defender? Like, yeah, for sure. And he already is. He's already actually a very good defender.
Yeah.
Like, do I think that Jabari Smith's going to average 17 points a game and shoot 37% from 3? Not really. So
you haven't even mentioned Amen Thompson, who might be their best player.
Yeah. And there's all of these, like, you know, there's all of these kind of parts around Şengün that you're like, I don't know, like even Van Vliet and the really annoying guy, talking about cringe.
Dylan Brooks.
You know what I mean?
God, Dylan Brooks and Jared McVay getting a bus together. Fuck. Nightmare blunt rotation.
There's enough like little discrete elements of the team that I'm not sold on, that I think like if 3 of those things don't happen, like if Green is bad and Smith doesn't take a step forward and like Brooks drops off, or like Thompson proves to be too difficult of a fit around what they're doing, or the shooting isn't there, or you can't play Thompson and Şengün together, like maybe it doesn't happen. This team doesn't make the jump.
Yeah.
Maybe they win 41 again. Maybe they win 42. I don't know. Anyway, I've waffled. I'm going under, but I'm saying to the camera, to you, I feel bad about this.
Yeah. I'm leaning over.
Yeah.
After all that, they've got a lot of good young players, but just for the past couple of seconds, I've just been thinking about, Dylan Brooks and Jared McVay chatting on the bus.
Yeah.
I think when Dylan Brooks says, "Where were you playing last year?" I don't think Dylan Brooks knows where Tasmania is.
Yeah, fully.
I don't think he knows it exists. I think it's like Ed Edwards in that Netflix movie, Spain, sounds whack. I think we're getting one of those quotes from that conversation.
Is that from the Adam Sandler movie?
Yeah. Hustle.
Yeah. Kermit Wilts.
Kermit Wilts and the Spanish guy. Yeah. My mate at work watched it and said, "Oh, what do you think about it?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's good. I just couldn't get past the fact that Wancho was the best prospect ever." And he's like, "Look, you forced me. Yeah, I lost you, man.
Yeah.
I evaded."
Yeah.
Cool. Longest tenured player on the Houston Rockets.
That's a tough one.
It is so tough. If I had to pick one that you're not going to get, it's this one.
It's this one. Okay. Well. Yeah, I mean, this is some dead air time. I honestly don't know. I'm just going to put Jalen Green as a placeholder.
Incorrect. It is Jay Sean Tate.
True. From what?
It is true.
2017. Yeah, right. Forgot about Jay Sean Tate.
Yeah, still there. Why do you need Jack McVeigh? Jared McVeigh, is that someone?
Jared McVeigh, I think, was a footy player.
Right. The Los Angeles Clippers, their numbers set at 42.5. Last year, they won 51 games. They added Derek Jones Jr., Kevin Porter Jr., Nick Batum Jr., and Mo Bamba Jr. They lost Paul George, Daniel Tice, Russ Westbrook, and Mason Plumlee. They're moving into a new arena.
Jared McVeigh played 325 games for the Sydney Swans from 2003 to 2019, kicking 201 goals.
What's he look like? No, I would never have picked that bloke. Yeah. What a head. Kawhi Leonard missed Team USA and he won't be ready for training camp and likely the start of the season.
I actually fact-checked this and I think the latest reports are that he is expecting to be there for training camp.
Let's just put an asterisk in there.
Okay. Conflicting reports.
Yeah, conflicting reports because something's going to happen.
Yeah.
He's going to get on the plane and something's going to happen. Kawhi had that quote where he's like, "Oh, we don't really need Paul George. Like, the game's just a little bit different without him. And it's like it's just a bit easier." I think it was taken out of context, but it was, I don't know, is Kawhi Leonard going to put his foot down? Probably not.
Yeah.
42.5. Holy shit. You say some team in the West has to lose, even if this team wants to win, some team in the West has to lose, and holy crap, this one is I think this is candidate one to fall off a cliff. Sorry, I've gone under.
I think if they get 82 games of Kawhi Leonard, this is the archetypal 43 win team.
No.
But it's not going to happen.
No, I think if they get 35 straight games of Kawhi Leonard, he's traded.
He's traded?
Yeah, I think they're trading him. If they can prove that he's healthy for 2 months...
You think they're going to trade him?
This team's so shit, man. What are they doing?
Well...
Because what if you can get your picks back?
I don't think they're going to trade him. Everything that you've heard for the last... Maybe this is me playing chess when other people are playing checkers, or me playing checkers when other people are playing chess, but... The whole moving into the new stadium thing was the build as one of the main reasons for wanting to keep this team together, even if it became clear that with Paul George they didn't have a championship ceiling.
Yeah.
To then pivot to not only are we not keeping the team together, but we're getting rid of both of them. And we're moving into a new stadium whilst the Lakers still have AD and LeBron, and you're just pretty much giving up all of the ground that you... Like, if you trade Kawhi Leonard and you have this team and James Harden, you're pivoting into a full rebuild. What's their pick situation? They can't...
Dante, you have sprung my trap. So I think we're seeing a trend in the NBA where that was started with the Brooklyn Nets, where they traded to get their picks back, right? And they prioritized getting their picks back in a Mikal Bridges trade.
So you're saying Kawhi Leonard's going to be traded to Oklahoma City?
For their picks.
That's insane, actually.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Why?
That's like some basketball forever type shit.
Really?
That's like if we were...
Really?
When we were signed to the Basketball Forever label 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
If we had pitched that to them... They would have fucking...
It's a graphic tomorrow.
Eaten it up. They would have fucking loved it.
There's a black gradient around the edges.
No. Sam Presti didn't...
Die for our sins.
Didn't want to pull the trigger on Paul George. Do you think he's going to not pull the trigger on Paul George and he's going to go and get the one that's more injury-riddled and older? It's not happening.
I think he would have pulled the trigger on Paul George. Paul George didn't want to be there.
I think they never went in for it. There was never a number on the table.
Now this is Connie. Right?
Yeah. No easies.
This is Jack.
No easies.
But I'm gonna have to just agree to disagree, right? Because I think it's
I hate agreeing and disagree.
I think it's what I say.
Yeah.
God, we're so far off the Clippers over under. But I'm just saying, if the Clippers, if Kawhi is fully healthy,
I've gone under by the way.
me too, for 35 games, and then you're like, man, we can trade the Clippers' own picks and Hartenstein for Kawhi. Would you do that?
I'll have to get back to you. I mean, I've not
2-3 picks.
I've not considered it.
Because then obviously this trend has also been sparked a little bit because the Houston Rockets now have Phoenix's picks, so it's like, give us Devin Booker and we'll give you your draft back. I'm not saying it's the right decision.
The other side of the coin though is like, you know, if Kawhi is unhealthy or if Kawhi is healthy and they're exploring different trade avenues. You just keep the Clippers picks. If they don't have Kawhi, all of a sudden the Clippers picks are like the most valuable picks in the league. And then you could trade the Clippers picks for Devin Booker when the time comes, or star X that's not 34 and like literally fucking made out of Teflon that's been shot full of holes.
In one test case, we've seen everyone's just come to the agreement Brooklyn got their picks back.
Yeah.
Which is a much smaller test case because Mikal Bridges not a former All-NBA championship player and Kawhi Leonard. But there's going to be 2 more instances where the rubber may meet the road with the Phoenix Suns and the OKC Thunder.
If I'm slow on the uptake, I think it's just because I need to consider this better.
Let's have a chat when we're watching the basketball with the boys after this.
Yeah.
Who's the longest tenured player in the Clippers? Give you a clue, you're not going to get it.
Oh, well, I'll just say Kawhi then.
It is Ivica Zubac.
Yeah.
Traded for Mike Muscala.
Yeah, famously. Where's Mike Muscala playing? I bet you it starts with a G and ends in Uangdong Tigers.
I was going to say T ends in Aviv. That's right, to Viv.
He's retired.
Yeah, good on him.
Good for him.
He was the guy who was updating his LinkedIn. So it's like started a new position as basketball player for Boston Celtics. He's up there with Chad Profits as one of the best followers. Los Angeles Lakers, their number set at 45.5. Last year they won 47 games. They added Dalton Connect, Christian Coloco. Shout out to Marco. He might not make the roster. Neither might Marco. But Christian Coloco is on the training camp, so that's good on you, Mark. Bronny James, you might have heard of him, famously the son of.
I'm actually just on LinkedIn now. I've got
24 notifications.
I've got a.
You work an office job. There's no reason why you shouldn't have that open on startup.
There you go. I just accepted a network request.
Like Muscala.
Who's been searching for me?
They lost Torian Prince and Spencer Dinwiddie.
Someone from Hockey Victoria was looking me up.
I swear Hockey Victoria's got bots that look at everyone.
You can't let me just have this one.
Oh, sorry, man. Notes. I've got no notes because the Lakers didn't really do anything. They brought the band back together. The band is subpar. LeBron had some...
The band is not... It's just par.
But LeBron had some quotes.
Par.
LeBron had some quotes on Media Day where he's like, this is sort of like, you know, I'm paraphrasing the fuck out of this, but he was a realist and he's like, we're probably not winning a title. I'm excited to play basketball with my freaking son.
Yeah.
Which is like, does that scream 46 and a half?
Well, 45 and a half. 46 to go over. No, it doesn't.
I've gone under.
Yeah. I've gone under as well. I mean, and you know what? Let your nuts hang, King. Like, fucking do it. Play a season with your son and just like... have a good time. JJ Redick is the coach. What's that all about?
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Zach Lowe. But did you listen to the JJ Redick Zach Lowe post?
No. You told me to, and I said, Dante, I can't.
Yeah. Well, I was in the car, and the first half of it was like with someone like a Kevin Pelton type, where you look at it, and you're like, oh, this is gonna be like a great conversation. And then the second half of it was with JJ Redick, and it was, as you would expect, pretty shit. I did turn it off, like he fully lost me, and I was like, I need to change this when he started talking about how he's really tight with Joe Mazzulla.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's enough from you.
Yeah.
I've lost my train of thought.
JJ Redick, is he going to be a good coach?
Who bloody knows?
Yeah.
It's nothing is screaming high 40s, particularly not the fact that
The white dove and ham is at the helm.
well, Anthony Davis, like, has there ever been a player in NBA history who is so identifiably awesome, but has a less demonstrable impact on win totals than Anthony Davis? Like, whether Anthony Davis is having a Defensive Player of the Year All-NBA second team season, or whether he's having like a bit of an off season and like is he even in the All-Star conversation as a Laker, it doesn't matter. The Lakers just win mid-40s. That's all they do every single year. Whether he's good, whether he's bad. So I don't know. I've gone under.
Yeah, I've also gone under.
Can I give you another over-under?
Hold on, I had a really... so going back to JJ Redick, sorry.
Yeah.
JJ Redick, he had a quote where, like, you know, at media day, they're like, is Rui going to take a leap this year? And he goes, a leap how? And he goes, is he going to take like a leap to be like that, a great scorer or get back to where he was in Washington? And he goes, I don't know, you started that narrative. And he goes, no, I was asking if you think he'll take a leap. And he goes, I don't know what the narrative is. You made it, right? And someone on Twitter was like, God, every single Twitter loser is going to bust a nut over this, and the rest of the NBA world is going to hate every second of this experience. Yeah, and you can do that all year.
Yeah.
I'm not conforming to your narrative, brother. He said his Rui Hachimura are going to be better this year.
Yeah. Yeah. Say yes.
Yeah.
It's like a new tier of like obfuscating because you think your player is bad, like avoiding the question because you don't have any faith in your guy. Like, I'm not going to use that question.
Maybe he's a big Elon Musk fan. What's your over under?
Bronny James, 19.5 appearances for the Los Angeles Lakers. Over under.
19.5. I think, honestly, 19 is a good number. How'd you get this?
I just thought of it. I'm just like that.
We have fun here in the Deep NBA podcast. Under. Yeah, I think he's quite bad at basketball.
Yeah, but also, did you hear that he's LeBron James' son?
Yeah, that's true. Because I didn't get it from the name. Yeah. What's the same as jersey? James. Yeah.
Right. That meme from like literally 10 years ago, that's like, Bronny James doesn't wear his dad's number because he doesn't want people to know who he is. Yeah. It's like, hey, yo, bro, check it in, number 7, Bronny James Jr.
Who the fuck's that? Yeah. It's like, man, King James on Instagram just posted a 7-photo carousel of him and this other guy. Who is he? Yeah. Longest tenured player on the roster? Come on.
Like, I'm so in my own head about this. Is it LeBron James?
It's LeBron Jamison.
How long has he been there for? 6 years?
16. No. 16 was his title. 18.
Yeah.
18.
19.
Yeah.
Like 18,
19, and then they traded all the young players and they won title in lockdown.
Yeah,
because he joined a roster with Brandon Ingram, Larry Nance Jr.,
Lonzo Ball.
How the fuck's that?
Julius Randle,
Alex Caruso. Imagine if they had Alex Caruso.
D'Angelo Russell?
Nah.
Yeah, D'Angelo Russell's like 2016 draft.
How did he end up on the Warriors? He got traded for Kevin Durant.
He went to Brooklyn. He got traded for
Brook Lopez.
Lopez.
Yeah, he started and then because Brook Lopez would have been the perfect center next to an aggressive, strong forward, but he ended up being Giannis' center, not LeBron's.
Just before we move on, the 2018-19 Lakers. Ball, Michael Beasley was there.
Michael Beasley.
I'm gonna sneeze.
Bless you. Spring has sprung.
Bloody hell.
Viewers of the Deep 2 NBA podcast might have seen Dante sneeze into his hoodie, which is a Deep 2 hoodie made here in Melbourne and designed by a Melbourne artist. And you can buy them today. Send us a quick message. Do you want to take a break?
Yeah, I'm gonna sneeze this.
The Jeff Van Gundy Tribute Show is your fortnightly dose of the lighter side of basketball, hosted by me, Marco.
And me, Lucas. We take a more laid-back approach, talking about the NBA, the WNBA, FIBA basketball, culture, whatever tickles our fancy or grinds our gears.
The show is filled with great guests, classic gags, and a healthy dose of tangents in honour of the great man himself.
The Jeff Van Gundy Tribute Show, fortnightly on the Deep 2 Podcast Network.
You know, loves just talking about the league, certain things like that.
You want to talk WNBA? Maybe some WNBL? Australian Opals chat? Heck, even dabble in some EuroLeague? Find the W Basketball Show on the Deep 2 Podcast Network.
All right, we are back. Wardrobe change, sneeze. I'm guessing a demister upstairs.
Yeah, no, Telfast 180 and a pseudo African.
Whoa!
Not fucking around.
Whoa! Where were we? Memphis Grizzlies. Oh, you're going to make a joke. No, you've already made the joke.
Yeah, I was going to say something, but I just sneezed like 7 times in a row, and it bounced right out of my brain.
That'll fuck you. Memphis Grizzlies, their number is set at 45.5. Last season they won 27. How are they 45 when their last season was 27? They added Zach Edey. You might know him as the large human who... that's about it, isn't it? They lost Derrick Rose. He retired. Signed, maintained, just sort of lost a lot of the bad players that were on the roster at the end of the year. So they lost a lot. I just didn't write them down. As far as we know, Ja Morant shouldn't be on Instagram Live, which is great because he was obviously suspended for non-basketball reasons. And this is the exact same over-under as the Los Angeles Lakers, and I think that's criminal.
I mean, this might be the hardest over. Definitely, it's the hardest over of the Western Conference.
I'm banging the over.
I'm also banging the over. I thought about this as a best bet.
Holy shit, so did I. Let's do one of these again.
This reminds me of my travels in
England
on the west coast of India, circa 2018, on a beach in Goa, and there was this like the northern beaches in Goa around Arambol called the Russian beaches. You know, Russians all just have like these satellite colonies in tropical locations around the world. Yeah. And there was this like big banner on the beach of Putin and Narendra Modi doing one of these ones. Looking into the camera, and it said like friendship forever underneath or something. It was very funny. I'll show you the photograph from watching basketball with the boys. Memphis Grizzlies did their media day team photos, and there's a photo of Jaren Jackson Jr., defensive player of the year, multiple All-Star, Ja Morant, multiple-time All-NBA player, and Zach Edey posing together like there was some sort of big three, and I just found it hilarious, not only because like Zach Edey is so unqualified to be in that picture. I mean, let's talk about it. He was drafted 9th, so the average return on a 9th pick is probably not even a good starter. Maybe it's a starter. And he was taken 9th, and there was a large section of the NBA commentariat that decided that he wasn't worthy of being taken 9th. And this is the third guy in the big three. Like, Marcus Smart is on the team. He just traded. Traded multiple picks to get him a season ago. Like, this is the guy that's the third guy. Anyway, it was hilarious. He also looks goofy as fuck. He's got kind of like a bit of a misshapen head.
What a head. Let's bring that back.
Difficult to have a shapen head when you got so much other stuff going on with your body. But he does.
Don't hold back.
Well, he's probably not going to hear this. I mean, we know that this episode does numbers. He's reaching Memphis. This is a big over. This is an awesome team that is largely the elements that made it awesome for the past few seasons are largely still intact. You've got to have faith in Ja coming back in a big way. And like this, like Memphis were the absolute flaw of Memphis pre-Ja gun incident was like 48 wins. The absolute worst you were expecting.
They're a regular season machine. Like,
they were top 4 lock.
Bud Bucks. Yeah. I also think it's a little bit poetic that we're talking here right after Derrick Rose is retired. And Derrick Rose obviously storied career for somewhat sad reasons. And Ja Morant gets a lot of comparisons to Derrick Rose, where it's just an explosive young guard getting to the rim. Fuck, he plays so much basketball, such an explosive style, absolutely ruined his lower body. And like Ja Morant was out for showing a gun on Instagram Live, and then he was out for a shoulder injury. If you were worried about Ja Morant's lower body like health, like this, a season off for non-lower body injuries is probably the best thing that could have happened to extend his career. Yeah, which is weird, but like I think this, if you're worried that it's like that he's just having that Derrick Rose MVP year and then that's it, I think this sort of extends it. So
yeah, absolutely.
I think this is a 50-win team.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Longest tenured player.
Luke Kennard.
He got traded there last year.
Did he?
Yeah.
No, he was there for ages. He's been there for ages.
You're thinking of Detroit Pistons. The answer is Jaren Jackson Jr. The Minnesota Timberwolves, their number is set at 52.5. Last season, they won 56 games. They added Rob Dillingham, Joe Ingles, Dante DiVincenzo, and Julius Randle. They did.
He got traded there too, so let's go.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And they lost Karl Anthony Towns, Carl Anderson, and Monty Morris. The late trade was apparently in the works for months with the New York Knicks. Minnesota saves about $49 million in luxury tax savings by trading Cat.
Only?
Yeah, only. Wing depth is absolutely insane. Randall, the idea is that he can run the offense when Conley sits, and Rob Dillingham is bad. And there are no Rudy Gobert injuries that we know of. So what was number 52.5? I'm banging the over because they've got a very good basketball player in Anthony Edwards. This trade, I don't think Cat's that important. I think that's as plain as simple as it gets. What are you doing here?
That's pretty plain and simple. I'm terrified by the sentence that the idea is that Julius Randle runs the offense when Conley sits. He's not great at that. He loves turning the ball over. Loves it.
I think you're underselling him a bit.
And he loves dribbling heaps as well.
Yeah, I think the dribbling heap's going to suck when Anthony Edwards is sitting in the corner and hopefully Chris Finch can stop that. But when Julius Randle is surrounded by 4 bench players, I think that's better than what this offense would have been without Julius Randle. Because it's Cat and 4 bench players, or like a non-Tony Edwards starter and 4 bench players. Those units are going to be considerably worse than what it will be with Julius Randle there, which is going to help this team. I'm
going over, but this is the flip side of the Houston Rockets coin, where I don't feel good about this after the trade. I think the trade makes the team worse, and it makes them worse in a way that yes, there's a case to be made for like Randall's fit on the team, but I don't buy the case at all actually. And Tony Edwards and Gobert with good role players all around, like that probably is a recipe for 50 wins. But like, I don't think we can underestimate what a night and day difference it is having the version of Cat that we've seen for the past 3 seasons, where he's just like a shooting machine, with a very good case to be the second best shooting big man of all time, despite some of the comparisons to.
Despite him saying he's better than Dirk.
Like he's a fucking great shooter. Yeah. And that does so much for Tony Edwards. It does so much for someone like McDaniel's twin getting shots away. Does so much for Gobert. Randall.
Can I stop you and say...
You can let me finish this last sentence. Randall, he doesn't do any of that. There's none of the same, like... The geometry is completely different. He's not pulling anyone anywhere in the same way that Cat is.
What if Naz Reid starts?
I mean, if Naz Reid starts, it's diminishing returns. You just traded away a guy who made an All-NBA
team years ago.
An All-NBA team last year for your...
Did he really?
Yeah, I think so.
Holy crap.
It's good. For a guy who's going to be your sixth man then, if Randall's coming off the bench.
Yeah.
What a terrible asset play. You traded this guy, your like franchise player, 2 years into a max extension for a sixth man.
And Dante DiVincenzo, a volume 3-point shooter.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong.
No, but if you're talking about Cat's
I
volume,
like DaVinci.
yeah, but if you're talking about Cat's volume, their wing depth.
I'm not talking about Cat's volume in terms of like 3PA. I'm talking about Cat's volume in terms of
3PM.
What? I'm talking about in terms of like your 4 and your 5.
What if
3PA?
What if McDaniels is at the 4 with DaVinci?
There's no.
And hold on, and
I don't want to let you finish.
Nikhil Alexander Walker.
There's no way you can even approximate what Cat does for them on offense unless you give all of his minutes to Naz Reid. And I think if you give all of his minutes to Naz Reid, there are diminishing returns on Naz Reid's
Like 6 minutes.
impact.
Yeah.
I think Naz Reid is better in a controlled environment as the third big coming off the bench or playing like spot starter minutes. Like I don't think you want to play Naz Reid 34 minutes again. For an 82 game season, there's a reason why Naz Reid has been a bench player for his whole career, and it's because there are weaknesses in his game which can be exposed.
I just disagree.
Yeah, well, maybe we need to
Fight.
Maybe we need to A to D and
The move, MO.
and MO.
We
Yeah.
both hit the over. Who's the longest?
Yeah, we're on the same team here.
Yeah, who's the longest tenured player for the Minnesota Timberwolves?
It's a great question.
It is a great question. One of the better answers.
Longest tenured. I don't even know who is on the team.
I'm just inviting dead radio space.
Yeah,
I'm
fully.
really asking.
I don't know that.
Yeah. Just say no.
God,
Don't say Mike Conley.
that wasn't his hand.
What fucker? You just say it last time. Luke Kennard.
Doesn't he feel like he's been in Memphis forever?
Nah, I can't get past when he didn't shave his head in Detroit.
Great college player.
Sure.
You should have seen him at Duke 2014. Absolutely fucking unbelievable. I don't know.
The answer is Naz Reid.
Yeah.
Okay, good. New Orleans Pelicans, their number set at 46.5. Last year they won 49 games. But Dante, they simply upgraded their roster, did they not? God, look at that. 5 beers. Just waved at him. Do you know him?
No.
He's your neighbour. I was like, well,
We don't know any of the neighbours.
Yeah, well, I guess neither do I.
On the first day when we moved in, the neighbour at the far townhouse said, "Oh, like welcome, great little place. Like we're just down the end there. We'll have to come over for a beer sometime." And then as proceeded to be the absolute most antisocial neighbour you could possibly imagine, always scowling and fucking like won't look at you when you walk past them and like drives.
Was this the lady with the bag of onions?
No, that's the wife of the man who just walked past with 5 beers. Yeah, 5 beers and a bag of onions. I like how they do it over
Yeah,
there.
that's great.
Anyway,
New Orleans Pelicans. So they won 49 last year. They added DeJounte Murray, Daniel Tice, Yves Macy, Cutler Matkovic, Javonte Green, and Jamal Cain. They lost Dyson Daniels, Jonas.
that's who they named Kane Arena after.
Wasn't he like the really homophobic tennis player? No, that's the woman. Dyson, Margaret Court.
Margaret Court,
And it's just criminal they haven't called it Margaret Court instead of Margaret Court Arena.
Yeah, fully.
If my name is Sean Stadium, you don't call it Sean Stadium Court. Come on.
Sean Stadium Arena.
They lost Dyson Daniels, Jonas Valanciunas, Larry Nance Jr., and Najee Marshall. This one's really hard.
This is maybe the hardest.
And I think if we're going to have the discussion about like, hey, someone's got to lose, and I've picked a lot of overs, I'm leaning under because I don't know how the offense works. I think Brandon Ingram doesn't want to be in New Orleans anymore, even though it's a great place to be.
Brandon Ingram going to the salon.
I think I have to pick under because I've picked too many overs. Someone's going to lose. 46 is bigger than Memphis and the Lakers number and the Warriors number. And there's a world that the New Orleans Pelicans are worse than those 3 teams.
Yeah.
I got to go under. What are you doing?
I'm going over.
Far out.
There's good players on this team.
Who is catching and shooting?
The guys that are coming off the bench.
That's
You want to
scary.
fucking talk to me about Da Vinci?
Yeah, catch
There's guys who can catch and shoot.
Yeah, but it's like but Da Vinci is one of the best three and high volume 3 and good D guards there is.
Yeah, I mean, like the answer to that question might just be Trey Murphy the third.
Oh, and he's missing 3 weeks plus 3 Pelican weeks, so he's going to miss the first 6 weeks of the year.
Yeah, but he did this last year and he came back.
Yeah.
No fucking problem.
Yeah, he did.
When's your fantasy draft?
Thursday.
This Thursday.
Bloody hell. You said you got tennis. Netty.
Yeah, I got
That's weird. I said to my housemate, good luck at Netty, but he's got tennis. Interesting.
Stell plays tennis.
Yeah.
Good sim.
Starting centre for this team. Who are you picking?
Who fucking knows? I don't know. I actually don't know Tice. Like,
Last time, yeah.
it's, but not that it.
You said over.
Yeah.
Holy fuck, you're an idiot. That's stupid. Like, DeJounte Murray, he's going to spot up at the free throw line. Whatever, longest tenured player.
Brandon Ingram?
See, incorrect.
I don't like this game.
Incorrect. It's Zion Williamson.
Yeah, I thought about him.
But it's a bit because Brendan was traded for the 4th pick in the same year that Zion was drafted.
Yeah.
And that had to technically go through after the draft. Okay. So because DeAndre Hunter put on a Pels hat.
Yeah.
Or a
God, I bet they wish they had him.
You're funny. Oklahoma City Thunder, they won 57 last year. Their number is set at 55.5. They added Alex Caruso, Isaiah Hartenstein, and Nikola Topic. It's actually funny to remember him. They lost Josh Giddey, Gordon Hayward.
Had you forgotten him? remembering Nikola Topic. Please join us in 12 seconds of silence.
So the 12 assists he had against Besiktas.
Because he was drafted 12.
They lost Lindy Waters the third. The whole pass. So in the history of Dante and Sean doing the over-unders, now it's key to note that these aren't all from the same American-based sports book. They're just whatever the fuck one we pick.
It's whichever American sports book had the best SEO.
For that year. In the 2020-21 season, Brooklyn had the highest ever over-under in our history of doing this at 55.5, the same number as the Oklahoma City Thunder, and we incorrectly went over. You might remember that Brooklyn team is having the 3 greatest fucking ball handlers ever. Boston, which we'll do next week, has 58.5, which is a fucking big number. Spoiler alert. I'm probably going under. So we went over in Brooklyn when they had the 3 players, and we were wrong. 55.5 for this Oklahoma City Thunder team. They won 57 last year. I'm going to go over. What are you doing, Dante?
I'm going over as well. This will be the one seed in the West.
This is going to be 63 wins.
Yeah, I mean, steady on.
62. So Ellis Caruso is the only historical injury risk, and he's probably going to be bubble wrapped until the playoffs. I think Caruso is going to come off the bench. In the playoffs, he might either start or play 38 minutes a night off the bench, right?
Is Chad Holmgren not a historical injury risk?
Yeah, I think...
Did he not miss his whole first season?
Yeah, but I mean, like, statistically, yeah, he's missed 50% of the games he could have played in, but he was very healthy last year. Yeah. Like, are you worried about him? Like, he's not a guy where it's like Joel Embiid, where it's like, is he going to...
I'm just worried about skinny 7-footers who've missed 50% of the game that they've been eligible to play in.
No, I will fucking A to D. Holmgren's probably going to start at the 5. They've got Hartenstein coming off the bench. Fuck, this team's good. They could start Isaiah Who. They could start Casson Wallace. They could start Ellis Caruso. And I think they're all amazing decisions. Personally, I think they should start Isaiah Joe just because in the regular season, just get a shooter out there. It really doesn't matter. He can play 15 minutes if you're having a bad matchup. He can play 35 minutes if you're playing against Detroit, for example, right? And you've just got a shooter. This is an excellent team.
Yeah, they're so good.
Are you going to pick them to win the title?
Under. It's October 5.
With Porzingis' injury, I might pick these guys to win the title.
Because Porzingis is not going to be available for the playoffs?
Historical injury risk. If you're worried about 50% of Chet's games, wait till you hear about this fucking Latvian gangbang.
You've got your cake and you're eating it too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
HIR.
I see. I see how it is. Yeah, I'm going hard over. I love this team. I like this number. I think this is the one seed in the West. I think that this is a high 50s.
Longest tenured player on the roster.
Shea?
No, it is Lou Dort.
Yeah,
It is. He was playing Russell.
I guess it
KD.
is. I guess it is.
Your Phoenix Suns won 49 games last year.
Over.
I just said 46 and a half. They added Tyus Jones, Monty Morrison, Mason Plumlee, and he lost Drew Eubanks. Didn't know he was a Mormon. He went to Utah. Eric Gordon and Nas Little. Yeah, he went to
God, they can get up those Mormons.
He signed for Utah. Also, Kevin Young, your assistant coach, who was like the most highly sought after assistant coach, now the head coach for BYU. Drinking the Kool-Aid or the olive oil, if you will.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, I was going to put this in acquisitions, but I feel like I legally can't. Mike Budenholzer, that's your head coach now. Also, yeah, the Suns were like, 30 days until the NBA season starts, and the top comment was all lowercase, hang Nurkic.
Yeah.
By this dude with 200 followers.
But he's got a point.
Yeah. Also, Nurkic had a quote in Media Day where it's like someone's talking about what are you going to do differently on this team? Like, and obviously you've got Budenholzer. Budenholzer's found heaps of success with Brook Lopez. Like, holy shit, so many people are just making a career of Brook Lopez having an incredible turnaround. Seth Partner wrote a book about it, the mid-range theory, right? He was in the Bucks front office when he said, oh, maybe we can sign Brook Lopez because we only have the mid-level exception available, and we'll just ask him to shoot threes, which is like obviously so right. But someone said, hey, Nurk, like, do you see yourself having like a leap like that? Can you shoot threes? And he goes, oh, the only reason I didn't is because that last coach we had just told me not to. And it's like, you didn't really do it in Portland either. Like, you might have, if the shot clock was going down.
Can I give Nurk some advice?
Mm-hmm.
How about you focus on shooting more than 37% at the basket before you start focusing on shooting 37% from three?
Yeah, it's he's such a bad guy. Like,
Yeah.
someone should punch him in the head.
He
should be guarding someone in the post.
right in the fucking
Right in the kisser, yeah.
Smack her in the kisser.
Right the Hendry kiss.
He's just also got like the classic 14-year-old wannabe fuckboy haircut. And the last guy that we had, the last center that we had come through that was like bragging about his offensive game whilst putting up 11 points per game, like didn't end so well for him. He's now in Portland. Yeah, and by the way, did I mention that Yusuf Nurkic is Bosnian?
You didn't actually. What's your point?
Need I say more? No, that's just a little bit tongue.
I've gone under.
I've gone over because it's my team, and you can't go under on your own team. You got to go over.
Sure.
You gotta go
Who's your longest tenured player?
Devin Booker.
Correct. Portland Trailblazers, they won 21. Their number set at 22.5. They added Denny Avdija, Donovan Clingan, and they lost Malcolm Brogdon. Chauncey Billups might be the worst coach in the league, and he's still there.
I mean, my initial instinct is that that's very harsh, but he might be.
What's he done, man? What development has he shown from his
But
players?
they're pretty shit.
I know, but
They
they're
drafted.
not that shit.
They drafted
A shit player.
the worst high pick since Markelle Fultz, and he immediately came in and became.
Hi, Warriors fan here. We drafted Big Jim.
You did do that. Who went next?
LaMelo.
Crazy.
Yeah. The front office has a desire to win. No outgoing picks forcing their hand. So 22.5, they won 21 last year. I'm going under. We're talking about someone's got to not win 50 games in the West, but I think we might get like a 2014-15 Phoenix Suns here where 48 wins might not actually make the play-in, right?
Yeah.
Obviously that's not how it happened, but your Gerald Green, Goran Dragic Phoenix Suns missed the playoffs with 48 wins. It's like far out. Like, this is tough in the West. We might have another one of those Wests, and with all those wins, like if Sacramento, the teams we mentioned later, the teams we mentioned earlier, in that little morass, can really push down the Washingtons and the Portlands of the world. So I think Portland's going to be winning in the teens because it's just brutal.
It is brutal, and I think they will be winning in the teens also. So you can infer from that, have gone under. But I also just don't Like, I also think they're going to be winning in the teens, like, semi because they want to as well, not because they're like the oppressed lower class of the left-end conference, but because they have players on their roster who have been proven to be able to contribute to winning basketball. Listen, DeAndre Ayton, aforementioned, dominating, bragging about how he's going to be such a good three-point shooter. Try fucking dunking the ball before you start shooting threes. And Rob Williams, both of those guys have played in the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
Rob
Yeah.
Williams, yeah, he did.
22.
Yeah.
He lost to the Golden State Warriors.
Both of those guys have like high level experience of being on really good teams, and they're both on the trade block. So as soon as they start getting any kind of talk about Kawhi getting 35 healthy games, like they're gonna be
10 Rob Williams games easy in Memphis tomorrow.
They're gonna be circulated like for getting off this team, and like I don't know. Do you say that you have to give Scoot a chance to like run it from not the bench? Do you have to give him 40 games of being the starting point guard and see if he can hack it or if it's a complete wash? Like, you probably do at some point. And evidence would suggest that that is not going to go super well.
Big second-year jumps from guards who have a high pedigree and struggled in their first year.
Darren Fox.
Darius Garland.
Yeah.
So if he is good, this is going to be the year it's going to happen. And if he's good, you've got him. You've got Shaden Sharp, who eventually has to do something. He's been talked about too much.
He was good last year. He just missed half a season injured.
Denny Avdija, you like him more than I. He's a serviceable 3-and-D wing. Jeremy Grant, you've got a centre rotation of Donovan Clingan, DeAndre Ayton, Rob Williams.
For now. That won't be the centre rotation come 50 games into the season.
And Simons.
Yeah.
It's quite deep.
And Simons could be playing in the Brighton Conference tomorrow.
I would love it if he plays for the Orlando Magic tomorrow.
Yeah, they don't need another can he not guard.
He can shoot. He can do. I think he can just shoot more than he can do anything else. But they can just condense. If they can consolidate,
3PA, but can he 3PM?
They can consolidate those Cole Anthonys of the world into one Tony Simons. I'd like that a lot.
Yeah, well, the thing about consolidating the Tony Anthonys, the Cole Anthonys of the world,
it's just too hard. Yeah.
Everyone was talking about Memphis consolidating for years and years and years, and actually it turns out that no one wants to take the other side of the consolidation trade. No one just wants your flotsam and jetsam of role players that are good in the right situation, and you end up, what's happened with Memphis' offseason this year, where they kind of just like let a whole bunch of them go because they're like, oh, you're not that good and you have no value. So we'll see whether Anthony Black is being traded as part of a trade to bring in like a much better player, or whether in 2 years
that's what the picks are for.
Yeah, but also like you're consolidating, like the players in there are still, depending on the trade, like still valuable.
Yeah. Longest tenured player for the Portland Trailblazers.
Jeremy Grant.
Simons.
Yeah.
Sacramento Kings.
That's going to be close though.
Sure. So Sacramento Kings. No, I don't think it is. Maybe 2 years.
I don't fucking know what I'm talking about.
Sacramento Kings, their number is set at 46.5. Last year they won 46. Wow.
Yeah, it's fully not. It's really not close at all.
They drafted Devin Carter, who's apparently a better version of Davion Mitchell. He's out for months. They added DeMar DeRozan and Jalen McDaniels. I put him here because I still think he can be good. They lost Harrison Barnes, Kessler Edwards, and Davion Mitchell. So they swapped out DeMar DeRozan for Harry Barnes, and they've got the exact same win prediction as last year, right? That should make you think they're at least one win better. DeMar DeRozan's a good basketball player. In the 2022-23 season, they were first in offense, 25th in defense. Last year, they were 13th in offense, 14th in defense. Next year, what are they? First in defense,
25th in offense.
I've written down here, I have no fucking clue, man. How do you judge this team?
I'm going under. I think this is the team that is
falling out.
and is going to have a win total that is in the 40, 41, 42. And that's going to have Houston and San Antonio nipping on the heels.
Okay, you're much higher in San Antonio than I. I've also gone under.
San Antonio won 30 games last year.
Chris Paul's not very good.
Yeah, Wemby is though.
Yeah. Oh, he's tall, isn't he? I'm thinking a Keldon Johnson call. Let's talk about them when we get there. I don't really want to talk about the Kings. They're just running it back. DeMar DeRozan's going to get in the way of Keegan Murray, who's sort of their ceiling raiser. If he can be that great,
Well, he's going to get in the way like of Keegan Murray,
and
like
Sabonis.
metaphorically. But he's going to get in the way of everyone else on the court physically. He's going to be standing in the same locations. DeMar DeRozan is a much better player than Harrison Barnes, but he's also a much harder fit, and he's not a natural fit on this team. Their offensive players are all very skilled, so I don't doubt that there will be an adjustment, that Fox and the Ox will be able to make an adjustment to incorporate DeRozan reasonably well. But there's no room in the West for any slippages associated with that. If it takes you 30 games to get this guy incorporated and then your offense is just as good as it was, but actually he's a worse defender than Harry Barnes was last year anyway, like there's no room for that.
Longest tenured player in the Sacramento Kings.
It's De'Aaron Fox.
It is De'Aaron Fox. Let's take a tiny break.
The NBA moves so quickly these days, it's hard to keep up. Shams and Woj are breaking stories left and right, but the Quick Time Out is right there with them to keep you informed on the latest NBA news. Stop in and let us break it down as it happens. Find the Quick Time Out on the Deep 2 Podcast Network.
No, the San Antonio Spurs, their number set at 35.5 last year. Mere minutes ago, you said they won 30 games. They actually won 22.
Yeah. As soon as I said that, I was like, that's
I was going to punch him. All right.
I was like, wait, but they got the 4th pick in the draft. How did that happen? 30 wins.
They had Chris Paul, lone pedophile, Harrison Barnes, Stephen Castle, and Malachi Flynn.
My guy.
It was like the third player in NBA history to score 50 points while averaging less than 10. The first two being
The Brewer,
and
Sadiq Bey.
Terrence Ross. Sadiq Bey, that
Malachi Flynn might have been averaging less than 10 minutes when he scored 50 points.
They lost Chetty Osman, Dominic Barlow. There's a really tall French dude on the roster, but I think this is a little bit too early. I think
I'm going over just on vibes. Just on vibes.
You're an idiot.
Just on vibes.
I think
that's where you and I differ. You're so forensic.
What?
Sometimes you need to take the foot off the pedal and live in the moment a little bit.
I think Chris Paul, who signed for the signed under the mid-level exception, is going to get bought out and signed with a contender by halfway through the year.
You know, you're a forensic cynic.
Yeah. And who's the Sony shooting guard?
I think the tall French guy.
No. What's his name? Oh my God, I can't remember. What's his name? Devin Vassell. Yeah. So Devin Vassell, there was a report that came out during the cat trade, came out hours before the cat trade, that he's out for months. He had surgery.
Yeah.
So I'm sure the starting lineup's sick when you've got Chris Paul, Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, Human Being, and the French guy.
Say what you will, Human Being did really good for Besiktas last year.
Well, actually, it's Harrison Barnes. He's going to do great for Besiktas next year. So yeah, go over, whatever.
Guangdong Tigers.
Have you read?
Yeah, well, fucking let me live. We'll revisit this in like May. Yeah, and we'll revisit this conversation. Cool. And I'm comfortable that this is the right decision for me to make, whether or not they do go over.
So political.
You want to be, you know, like take a load off, have a beer. You know, they're not going to be very good. You're so serious all the time.
Who's the longest tenured player on this roster?
Keldon Johnson.
It is Keldon Johnson. Congratulations. Final team in the Lefton Conference, the Utah Jazz. Their number is set at 28.5. They won 31 games last year. They drafted Cody Williams, Isaiah Collier. They signed Patty Mills and Drew Eubanks. They lost Taylor Horton-Tucker and Chris Dunn. And they signed Larry Markkinen. At Media Day, Justin Zanuck came out and said that the Jazz felt that there were no major moves to make this season. That's coming from Andy Larson of the Salt Lake Tribune. So this sort of confirms your theory from a year or two ago, whether it's like, oh, the Utah Jazz going to do the Danny Ainge thing where they sniff around for a trade, and like maybe they push their chips in, and I obviously famously did on 2K and traded for Trae Young.
Well, we'll never forget when you did that. It's so crazy.
I've got this as my best bet for under. I think they're winning in the teams.
When you Google "do Mormons like jazz," the first thing that comes up is from the Reddit thread r/ex-Mormons. Jazz, the music and art form, is and will always be in opposition to Mormonism. They are mutually exclusive, in my opinion.
Really?
Which kind of makes sense, like, freedom of expression and like ad-libbing, in a fun and colourful way. It doesn't exactly bring Mormonism to mind.
Jamie, clip that.
Yeah. Jazz musicians, maybe, do they have a proclivity to have multiple partners? Do the Mormon forefathers of yore, have a proclivity for a few wives here and there? Maybe there's something, here. But I was just thinking, like, why the Jazz?
You know why the Jazz?
I know why the Jazz in terms of like the
New Orleans Jazz, and they got moved.
The historical kind of franchise swapping that's been going on between Charlotte and New Orleans and Utah. I understand. But like the Pelicans and the Bobcats/Hornets have done name changes. Like Pelicans specifically did it for reasons of connecting the name
to the city,
to the region. Something that like what is relevant here? Shouldn't it be like the Utah Rockies?
Yeah. It sounds a little bit like
the Salt Pans.
Yeah, it sounds a little bit like all this name swapping with the Charlottes and the New Orleans. It sounds a little bit like the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Have you seen that?
I've actually been on a bit of a Mormon binge.
You say that every time we do a podcast. You're just like,
it's very interesting to me.
Yeah,
it's very interesting. I haven't watched the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, but it pops up on my Disney Plus homepage. I will
give it a click and just watch the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Because there's a bombshell after 10 minutes. We're like, whoa, no wonder this is a program. Like, no wonder they got 10 episodes out of this. It's very, very fucked.
Yeah.
There's these Mormon wives.
Yeah.
And then they start a swingers club. But some of them only do oral, so they aren't breaking the Mormon, whatever. But then the others are just full-blown swingers.
Yeah.
And then they all just like either leave or stay, and it's...
Yeah. It's really interesting that...
Also, they all just talked about it on TikTok. They all just went on live and just said, hey, so I went over there, and then that's how they became famous.
Yeah, because they were on like IJ Live talking about how they...
And they had a gun. What can I say? There was also...
Wait, did they bring the gun on the organizational plane... which is a violation of organizational policy.
So if he's at the Denver club, sorry, I'm forensic potting. If he's at the Denver club at 11:56, and his IG live was at 12:01, that's a new day.
Can we get the fingerprints done? Was the gun bought by an associate or by the secret wife herself?
Nah, it was he scrubbed the serial code. Hang on, I've got an even funnier thing to say. The Secret Lives, the women do like lots of TikTok videos, and they became famous firstly because they were doing like cute little dance videos, right? It's like, oh, look at all these middle-aged people dancing, isn't that fun, right?
Yeah.
And then one of them, well, they're 30. Some of them are in their early 20s. So they're not middle-aged. Well, it's actually I got asked a question. Funny question from you. Yeah, no, the wife and I were playing a funny little game where it was like going through all these cards, and it was like, oh, if your life was a book, what would the name of this chapter be? And I said Ladder Years. Isn't that funny?
Funny also because it's the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Yeah, so back to that. So they do a lot of dances, right? And then there was this one girl who was like, her baby had like fucking measles or something. Like her baby was really sick. Yeah, and she's like pulling her eyes out, and then she's just like doing this. So it's in the background while the baby's in the pram on the video, like suffering from a proper illness. And it's like, man, that just makes me want to put the Utah Jazzers under their number. That's insane.
Do you got Patty Mills on this team?
Yeah, what's he doing, man?
I don't fucking know with this one because...
Do you want to watch the worst video of your life?
No, I actually don't.
Okay, yeah, don't worry then. But it was a video of Larry Markkinen posing with a ball like this for Media Day, and then Patty Mills was like, Yeah, Steel Glare. Whoa, who's that? And I was like, what the fuck, man? Why are you on this roster?
Yeah.
But like,
Patty Mills' secret Mormon.
Drew Eubanks, Patty Mills,
Did you hear that Patty Mills was under the beds in the Olympic Village shaking it?
Which country? It'd be America, wouldn't it? Yeah, it'd be like the shot putters, like the American Olympic shot putters.
Would be under the bed.
No, he would be shaking their bed because
Shot putters are big. Like, is Patty Mills big enough to shake his bed for sure?
He's got that vet. Is that vet strength?
Yeah, old man string. Look, fucking who knows with this one?
Nah, this is my best bet.
28, like.
Larry Markkinen holding a fish.
The thing is
speed
that
dealers.
Larry Markkinen can't be traded. Like, Larry Markkinen's going to be on the team. And there's no way that Larry Markkinen is going to be interested in playing 45 games in this
I think he will because he's getting paid so much money.
I'm going under, but you know, I'll tell you two things. I'm confused by this. I'm going under. And I'm also way more interested in talking about Utah and Mormonism than I am in talking about Utah and the Jazz. So I'm going under, but, you know, that's probably a good place to leave it, especially considering that we're at the end of the alphabet in the Western Conference.
Yeah, Cody Williams could be good. He's the brother of Jalen Williams.
The thing that makes me think that Cody Williams could be good is that there's never been brothers in the NBA where one of them was really good and one of them was really bad. It's never happened before. So I think, I was tongue.
We're at the end of an hour and a half.
I was tongue in the cheek.
Couldn't see the tongue. Who's the longest?
Because it actually happens. The reason why it's funny is because it actually happens all the time.
Who's the longest tenured player for the Utah Jazz?
It's a fucking great question.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, I don't even know who's on the team.
Well, it's not Isaiah Collier. You can rule him out. It is Jordan Clarkson.
Yeah.
Yep. Sounds about right. Because it is right.
All right.
All right, Dante. Beautiful pod.
Beautiful pod.
Beautiful
Always
pod.
a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. Let's regroup next week.
Yeah, let's.